All right, welcome to SKS Media again, guys. Today's special guest is Varun. Thank you so much for
No,
coming,
thank you
Varun.
for having me. Thank you.
So usually what we do is somewhere then I guess they just give a quick background on who they are for the viewers that might not know you. Ani त्यहाँबाट we'll just start talking.
Okay,
Right?
sounds good.
So
So my name is Varun Bisht. I came to US in 2005, so August 2005. It'll be August in 2025. Will be 20 years.
wow.
I came here because my parents were already here, so I followed my parents here. I did my high school here, so 11, 12 I completed here. After that, I did a small stint in a college, then realized college wasn't for me at the time. So I decided to join the army because the army was my passion. So I did about 4.5 years active duty. This was another 2.5 years reserve my base. After the army, I started at Verizon, went up the ranks in Verizon, then moved to Boston and started working for Amazon at Boston Alexa specifically, rose up the ranks there. And then finally now, for the last 2.5 years, November 2022, I've been with the federal government, Department of Justice, ATF. I'm the Chief Privacy Officer, technical compliance side of the house. So I look after all the systems, the technical compliance requirements, control assessments, that kind of stuff.
Wow. Varun, I feel like 20 years ago there's so much to debunk here. I know?
Yeah, yeah. I've lived a lot of paths, man. Like work,
army to Amazon to what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
But त्यो कुरा गर्ने अगाडि let's talk about Nepal मा पहिला है. So what was it like before 2005? What was it like growing up in Nepal? अलिकति just a quick snapshot.
The best time of my life was in Nepal. I was 10 सम्म त्यही पढे हुनाले I gave my SLC त्यो बेला मैले CBSE दिए because I was going to Indian school. It was the best time of my life. Like no cell phones, so it was school, homework, and then out with friends playing cricket, soccer, सब कुरा. So
कता चाहिँ?
नेपालमा
कता?
बालवाटा, Kathmandu. So I'm from Kathmandu, born and raised in Kathmandu. Lazimpat बालवाटा area मा बस्थे. So I went to Indian Embassy School त्यो बेला केन्द्र विद्यालय भन्ने थियो. So since grade 3 त्यही पढेको. So it was a very small group of friends because we didn't have the our school was just the A, B, C, D sections. We didn't have that one class, 35 students. That's it. That's what he shani friends all the way through. So best time of my life was Nepal.
Usually I think a lot of students when they come here, F1 visa boy, right? But your parents were already here and transition garden boy. So was that the first time for you, US only Balama, or?
No, that was my first time. Yeah, so my parents were already here, and they did my paperwork and everything. So I came here, not the struggle of F1 or anything. I didn't have to go through that. I came here on a green card, so it was much easier from that perspective, from an immigration perspective.
So first impressions,
So त्यो बेलासम्म America was like the picture of New York. त्यो के भन्छ त्यो movies-हरुमा देखेको tall buildings, busy traffic, yellow cabs त्यो My parents lived in New Mexico. They still live in New Mexico right now. So I fly into LA. My transit in LA was 2 hours. The headache of going from international to domestic, take out your bags, put it. Like I was 16 by myself traveling. I didn't know how to go from one terminal to another, so I took my bags out and I was outside the airport and I'm looking around like, where do I go now, right? They tell me it's a 1.5 mile hike to the domestic side. So put the luggage on the cart, right? I went to the domestic side, hopped on a plane. I landed in New Mexico at night, and it was like lights, no matter what city it is, it looks gorgeous. I landed, my parents picked me up at the airport, went to the apartment. The next day I woke up, I walked out. The tallest building I see is 2-story buildings.
Right? Oh, hey, because New Mexico, boy.
Yeah, Albuquerque, New Mexico, right? It's so open, like so open. And I was like, where did I end up? And why did I come? Nepal I had the most luxurious life, from carefree, careless. You didn't have to lift realistically, you didn't have to lift a finger over there. Yeah, like it's like disoriented.
Disoriented भन्नाले
I didn't know where I ended up. Yeah, गाउँ जस्तो open हुन्छ नि. And then I don't know if you've ever been to New Mexico or that Albuquerque area. It's adobe style houses, यहाँ चाहिँ नि adobe style houses is considered like all luxury adobe style भने जस्तो नेपालमा चाहिँ नि माटोले लेपे घर भन्छ नि हैन it's right so you end up with that हैन त्यसपछि स्ट्रक्चर बाट पनि त्यो wood pillars हरु यस्तो यस्तो निग्रह हुन्छ नि हैन नेपालमा गाउँ घरतिर देखे जस्तो घरहरु जस्तो त्यस्तो लाग्यो के हुन्छ नि for first time landing and looking at adobe style houses I was like where did I
so तपाईले अब त्यो एउटा that was I guess that was one of the culture shocks or no not culture shock but more like expectation versus reality right
correct exactly
so what about culture shocks
culture shocks I had various
biggest differences shocks. Nepal ra
I landed August ma aako so you know the school started literally next week yeah you know August ma school suru huncha ni ta so we went in public school right 11 12 public school public schools are free bigger shock no fees nothing you know
true
right and tesmathi no uniforms so I woke up in the morning and had to decide what to wear am I going to fit in am I not going to fit in हैन अब त्यो बेला के भन्छ अझ पनि के चलन थियो नि कपालमा अलिकति तेल लगाउने हुन्छ नि
दिदी बेला
जेल लगाउने त्यस्तो चलन थिएन नि त अनि अलिअलि तेल लगायो हैन सो इट्स नट ड्राई अब के भन्ने हो हैन सो वॉक्ड इन के भन्छ रेजिस्ट्रेसन गर्न गएको थिएँ रेजिस्टर गर्न साथ त्यही दिन स्कुल सुरु थियो सो दे टोल्ड मी गो पिक अप योर बुक्स भन्छ अब नेपालमा त यु नो लाइक बुक फेयर हुन्थ्यो कि त सेलर्स युज्ड टु कम अर यु ह्याड टु गो टु अ स्पेसिफिक शप टु बाई बुक्स नि त यहाँ त the books are readily available you just go pick them up by your class don't have to pay anything then they gave you a locker the biggest culture shock was high school locker so everybody's assigned a locker okay I couldn't get the combination to work for like a month because 3 times come on this is land on one number then go left one number come right one number I tried first day I tried for 30 minutes I couldn't open it so I said I don't need a locker so for the first month and after 2 months I didn't even use the locker so it's like I just carried like all 3 books go अनि के भन्छ class पनि it's like it was different हैन किनकि नेपालमा चाहिँ you sat in one class teachers rotated out here the teacher owns the class you rotate out from class to class to class to class yeah
in high school
yeah you don't stick to one class
so now I'm actually because undergrads with thapa masters thapa मलाई high school ma त्यस्तो
yeah high school is the same thing teachers own the class and that's that teacher's class and now physics your class ma cha भने that's that class and you finish with that class you get out you go to your different class you go to a different class right and you get to pick your schedule too just like college just high school ma cha you have a core requirement right like physics ko lagi you have to take you like let's just say for physics right 11 12 ma मैले physics ले go हैन physics मा पनि physics 1 or 2 भन्ने हुन्छ नि त हैन like if you have already done 1 you can take 2 and this AP courses पनि भन्छ which is like college credit courses so trying to pick the class then they ask which teacher do you want it with and because one physics class is being taught by 3 teachers and so you get to pick a teacher I didn't know any of that so schedule गर्नु पर्थियो के so 11th ma I need to meet these requirements math ko yo chemistry ko yo physics ko yo भन्ने requirement if I needed to meet that then I have to juggle the schedule around to make sure it does not overlap with each other your physics section I wanted to take it with this teacher but if I take it with that teacher I cannot take the chemistry one because it's at the same time so I have to take the chemistry with a different teacher so that was a bigger culture shock because never had to pick my schedule
so college just they were
exactly
yeah, wow
exactly
so in high school ma I have a question later so undergrads ma धेरै जना आउँदाखेरि I think a lot of people are in the same boat college गइराछु like everyone wants to make new friends but going to a high school but 11th grade ma especially when everything's already set
yeah
like, how was that like was it hard to make friends
so US मा चाहिँ नि कस्तो छ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ नि education is a requirement until 12th grade and it's not an option like you have to send your kids to school until 12th grade and त्यो यहाँ चाहिँ required is college is a luxury right like you can choose to go to college or not go to college हैन तर high school you have to go you don't have an option otherwise child services आउँछ why are you not sending your kids to school homeschool concept पनि छ but like you know for normal kids so high school ma chani most of these kids because high school belongs to a district so you don't pick a college I know because I think it's based on your address so if I Massachusetts if I live in Lexington I'm going to Lexington K elementary school Lexington K middle school and Lexington K high school I know if you're doing public I know but if you do private it's you can pick anything whatever the public ma ta huncha ni ta so a lot of these kids have been together or know each other because one, they live within the same community. Two, they went through same like elementary school, middle school, and high school, right? So there's already cliques. Now, मेरो लागि चाहिँ toughest के थियो, which clique do I fit into? So, believe it or not, Nepalma education for like 10th grade is very ahead compared to यहाँको 10th grade education. Like, just I did calculus 1, maybe even 2 at some point, matrices and all that stuff. 10th में गरिसकेको थियो नि त. They don't even teach that concept in high school. Algebra 2 is the basic requirement to pass high school. Algebra 2 is like x's, right? X my bracket plus x plus 1 equals to y. Solve the equation. So I was already kind of ahead of that, right? So I had to be careful. First time class on the like who can solve this one? Like Nepal you wanted to be that kid. I can solve it. Yeah, I was like, I can solve it. Everybody's like, oh, here comes another geek.
Oh, no.
And plus I was in New Mexico, right? So New Mexico is primarily Hispanics culturally, and then there's also your whites. Other races are minority to an extent. Mero Pura High School, I think there was only Mara Mero Bani were the only 2 Nepali, obviously.
Wow. What's the student?
My graduating class was around close to 600. So 9 through 12, about 1800 to 2000 kids. I mean, duita matra Nepali at the time, back in 05. New Mexico, Pura at the time there was only 4 or 5 Nepali families.
Damn.
05. And one of them was my mom's home sister. So Nepali community was very small. Nepali haru bhaneko cha ni, there were maybe 5 that were in college. हुन्छ नि उनीहरु त्यो F1 visa मा आको हैन. अब अहिले त if you go to Albuquerque you'll find a lot of Nepalis, but back then त्यस्तो थियो. So we're the only 2 Nepali, so there's already that what are you भन्ने हैन. And maybe there were like 3 or 4 Indians at the most. So we came into that small group and there was that automatic assumption कि they're geeks. हुन्छ नि हैन. त्यसपछि whether you are not त्यो stereotyping भन्ने एक किसिमले त्यो थियो. So it was hard to make friends because I didn't know which group I fit in. But testo khasai bhayen. Then I started making 1 or 2 core friends. They were with me in every, like either 2 or 3 we had common classes. So we started talking. They got to know me. They opened up and they took me out to their friend circle. So slowly grew. त्यसपछि मैले soccer पनि खेले. So that made more friends. So त्यसपछि बिस्तारै भयो. But it almost, I'll tell you, मेरो 11th चाहिँ almost, I want to say, एक्लै बित्यो के. So I didn't make a whole lot of friends पनि हैन. हुन्छ नि तर
त्यति बेला भर्खर आउनु पनि भयो. Everything so new. त्यसको माथि high school मा everyone already has it.
Yeah, त्यो हुनाले plus सबको आफ्नो interest हुन्छ हैन. And I never got into video games. I tried. I just zoned out, got bored. खेले पनि त्यो कहिले काहीँ FIFA नत्र भए NBA Y2K त्यस्तो खेल्यो हैन. नत्र भए even then 15-minute span was the most I had हुन्छ नि. And त्यसपछि but there were people that were like, oh, let's hang out भन्यो. उनीहरुसँग hang out भनेको we used to go to arcade or like they end up meeting at somebody's house, play video games हुन्छ नि. नेपालमा त हामी सबजना भेटौँ भने भेट्यो, क्रिकेट खेल्न गयो, नत्र यताउति हल्ला गर्यो, जे गर्यो यताउति गर्यो हुन्थ्यो नि त हैन. It's not the same here. So that was culturally त्यो पनि गाह्रो थियो अनि adjust हुन पनि अलिकति it took a little bit of time. तर friend circle small थियो. अब जस्तो मेरो graduating class मा there were 500 of us, give or take हैन. अनि त्यसपछि I maybe knew 20-25 people. बाकी सबलाई चाहिँ passing by मा hi hello कसैसँग एउटा क्लास छ, दुईटा क्लास छ, that's about it.
So let's talk about transition from high school to college life.
So I went to college New Mexico. Like it was 2 hours from Albuquerque, literally gaon called Socorro. I know. The whole town is run by the University of New Mexico Tech, New Mexico Institute of Mining and Technology, short for New Mexico Tech. It's probably one of the best tech schools in the country till this date. I know. They have their own mountain for research, mining. Mining school, but they were a very good program. So literally gamate. So it was a very small college. I want to say at the time 75% male to 25% female ratio. I know. And so I enrolled there. I got a developed scholarship, so I went there. Started off in computer science. Got bored of it within the first semester, right? Coding it's not that I didn't know coding, and I got bored of coding. And literally a lot of geeks went there. Like that are passionate about coding. People would lock themselves in the room for 12 hours straight code and stuff like that. That kind of craziness, right? Then there was a group of guys that were doing petroleum engineering. Now that was the wild side. And petroleum engineering,
which is
drilling, that kind of engineers, okay, petroleum. So they had a program for petroleum engineering, and that was the quote unquote party group. So I was like, that's the group I want to go into. Right? So I went into that group, and it was good, but like a year in, I didn't have the passion for the studies. I wasn't bad at studies, but I couldn't focus. I always wanted to be in the army since I was a kid. So talked to my parents and I said, I'm going to drop out. I'm going to go into the army. That was my ultimate goal. And at first, Nepali parents hesitant, but my dad was really supportive. He was like, whatever you want to do. So went in and signed up and went into the army.
So your army decision, say, why did you always want to go to the army? Like, what was it that made you go army?
Nepalमा मेरो कजन्सहरु पनि आर्मीमा हुन्थ्यो first. And I like the uniform, the picture of my uniform. Plus नेपालमा आर्मीलाई जति respect दिन्छ नि, like like the respect, the power, the authority हुन्छ नि, त्यो सानैदेखि देखिरहेको, grew up around that kind of stuff. So it was always like, oh, I want to be in the army. The respect, I want to get that respect. I want to wear that uniform. It was the uniform, the perfectly crisp uniform. So I always wanted to go into the army. So that was a passion of mine. I had made up my mind long time ago. I would have gone into the army. Or at least try to go into the army.
Right.
Yeah.
So your army, to get into the army and being in the army, what's it like?
Getting in the army is really simple. US, man, it's very easy. And back then, anybody could get into the army. Getting Iraq war chal raha tha. When I say anybody, people in F1 went into the army.
Timeline
2009. Because I graduated high school, so I'm 2007 pass garera. And I went for a year and a half into college. And then I decided to drop out, and then I went into the army 09. 09 war chal raha tha, Iraq war थियो. They were going to draw back from Iraq, and then Afghanistan they were a peak ma थियो, so they were taking anybody into the army that met the basic qualification, which was you were not fit भन्ने त थिदै थिएन हैन. You didn't have to be fit. I was a big guy. If you go back and check my pictures when I was in the army, I was a big guy, but physically you weren't damaged. Psychologically you weren't damaged, and you didn't have a criminal record or anything like that. And you could sign up for the army. You took a test called ASVAB test. ASVAB is a score that they give you. And army ma चाहिँ MOS भन्ने हुन्छ के, what job do you want to pick भनेर के. कोही fueler हुन्छ नि, गाडीमा तेल मात्र हाल्ने. Some people go to HR side of the house, administrative, and it all depended on your score on which MOSs you could qualify for. MOS भनेको just your job, which one you wanted. So just take the test, and then if there's an opening for that MOS, you pick it, and then you go to basic training, you do your training, and then you get out, and then you get assigned a duty station. You end up at a duty station. So I did that. I scored good enough in ASVAB that I had multiple job series to choose from. So I chose a job series called Combat Engineer. The Combat Engineers thing is explosives. Like that's the thing. So it's bomb squad. Explosives, as in like if you ever have to go to war, your job is to find the bombs that's on the road, landmines, that kind of stuff, IEDs, that kind of stuff. So sometimes you walk and find it. Sometimes you go on the vehicle and find it.
You step on one. Oh my God!
Step on one, you never come back. It's as simple as that. So I wanted to do that. I enjoyed that, and so I went to school for that. Not school, but training for that. And then once I graduated, my first duty station was Germany. And I went to Germany, and then Germany but Afghanistan guy. Then I asked to come back stateside, USIA, and this was very Afghanistan guy. And then I came back to US, and that's the end of it for me.
Hey, damn, so हामी अहिलेसम्म we've met multiple times.
Yeah.
तर मलाई तपाईँ अफगानिस्तान गयो, जर्मनी गयो, also थाहा नि.
म कोरिया पनि गए बिचमा ट्रेनिङको लागि. I traveled the world. म जो आर्मीमा छ नि, it gave me the experience that I needed हुन्छ नि. So 4.5 glorious time of active duty. If I could have, I would have stayed my entire career there. So after 2 deployments in Afghanistan, I did go through some stuff. So unsani, like the explosions and stuff like that. So because of that reason, I was medically retired. Unsani. So they told me you cannot be active, right? So they cut my contract in short. This was more reserve, my guy. So reserve, I became a network instructor. Unsani. So I started teaching computers essentially to people that come in, new recruits. Huh? Completely different thing, yeah, completely different thing. But it's a reserve, so it was 1 weekend a month. Baki bela, you could do whatever you wanted to. So, garme basi basi, 1 weekend a month. I started doing reserve, and then I did reserve for like 3 years. And then I said, "This is it. Like reserve ma basera, it's not fulfilling my inspirations." So I quit in 2018. I got out.
So, I don't know if you want to share this or not. That I'm very curious. You know, Newsma or just in general, when people say army and going to Afghanistan, you see a lot of crazy things.
Yeah.
But has there been any like crazy personal experience for you out of your 4.5 years of deployment?
Yeah, I'll keep it short. I saw a lot of action. We were combat engineers, right? So we go out first. We always went out first, because we have to sweep the road, make sure everybody behind us coming is clear. Like, so there's, like I said, there's different MOSs in the army, right? So Hareko experience is different. I mean, not one experience is the same as the other unless we've been together, kind of concept. So there's different sizes. Mero group was like 38 people, I think. And we were always forward deployed once again. So there's big bases. I know, Zaki, you have like coffee shops and all that stuff, barbers and everything. Then there is like smaller ones where it's like about 600 people, battalion size. It's more like cafeteria. Then as a company, you might end up in somewhere in the very top of a hill, and you're literally staying in a tent with the cots. So I experienced that aspect of things, right? So once a month we got to come back to that big base and shower, sleep in a good bed, enjoy good food. The rest of the time, then we used to get supply runs, and otherwise we used to eat out of those MREs, meals ready to eat.
Oh, meals ready to eat.
Yeah, the packet mountain. Each one of them is 2,000 calories if you eat the entire thing. So ate that, and best time of my life. Yeah, internet, we had satellite phones too, and so we got to make calls every once in a while, depending upon where we were. So missions, I've been blown up a few times. So I've been blown up a few times. We've been shot at multiple times. So it's an experience.
It's the way you're saying it, also low key, but I'm listening to it and I'm like, this is
to experience it's a whole different kind of experience. At the time, I was scared. I didn't want to be in Afghanistan. I wanted to go home. There was mindset. But now I go back and I think like those were the best times of my life. Close 30 friends, fighting. We're singing, we're laughing, making jokes, we're on missions. We're 12 ghanta missions on the road. Those were the best times of my life. And so if I could go back to Afghanistan, well, I hope we never have to go there again. But like if it was still happening and if they had given me the option, medically cleared me to go, I would have gone. So,
but why was it the best time of your life? You felt like there has to be something that made it feel like, oh, that's why.
There was a few situations, right? We felt like but like we didn't like. I wouldn't comment on this because I don't want to speak for it. But like for me personally, certain things we did were such fulfilling, and suddenly like we had like this assignment where we were parked outside the women's college Kobaira. So our job, sole job, was to provide security for it, right? Like to make sure, like Afghanistan, man, so that they can go to college safely. So just watching everybody go to college, everybody leave to area, everybody living a normal life compared to the horror stories that. And I've never witnessed it, but like Sunda Hali at least I'm serving a purpose when I asked the plus the friends you make, the jokes, the pranks, the fun you have with those close knit like you're there for an entire year. You don't have anything else to do except for talk to each other, clown on each other, have fun, play volleyball. So that was very fulfilling. And त्यसपछि me personally, we were हामीसँग त्यो Afghan army and other police embed हुन्थ्यो क्या सधैँ. So हामीले MRE खाँदाखेरि हैन, they used to cook हुन्छ नि आफ्नै त्यो नान सान बनाइरहेको हुन्छ नि त. They always म चाहिँ नि त्यतातिर गयो, तिनीहरूसँग बस्यो हैन, खाना मजासित खायो. Not all, no, my friends couldn't do it because they couldn't digest it हैन. मलाई त I was like, oh, this is perfect. Like हुन्छ नि सेकुवा बनाएको छ, नान बनाएको छ हैन, खसीको मासु छ हैन. It was perfect. It was made like it was perfect. अनि त्यहाँ मोस्टली धेरै जस्तो उर्दू बोल्छन्. अब पाश्तुन उनीहरूको प्योर भाषा भयो अरे, तर त्यो एरियामा चाहिँ हामी चाहिँ नि पाकिस्तानको नजिकतिर भयो बेला द्याट एरिया, त्यहाँ धेरै जस्तो उर्दू पनि बोल्थ्यो क्या. अनि बलिउड मुभी पनि हेर्थेँ होइन. सो मैले हिन्दीमा बोल्दाखेरि दे वुड अन्डरस्ट्यान्ड, तिनीहरूले उर्दूमा बोल्दाखेरि आई वुड अन्डरस्ट्यान्ड हुन्छ नि त्यो कन्भर्सिङ. सो फर मी इट वाज लाइक आई क्यान एडजस्ट गर्न मलाई चाहिँ नि सजिलो भएको थियो क्या हुन्छ नि. सो आई वुड गो वाच, तिनीहरू बलिउड मुभी हेरिरहेको हुन्थ्यो, आई गो सिट डाउन एन्ड आई वाच इट विथ देम हुन्छ नि.
सो कम्युनिकेसन पनि गाह्रो भएन त्यसो.
मलाई खासै त्यस्तो भएन होइन. अब कोही कोही चाहिँ प्योर बोल्ने उनीहरूले बुझ्दैन थियो, तर ट्रान्सलेटर पनि हुन्थ्यो हामीसँग, इन्टरप्रिटर पनि हुन्थ्यो. सो मलाई चाहिँ नि एकदमै it was a different experience.
That's a different lifestyle.
When you're not on an ambush, when you're not firing a weapon, it was a
when you're safe.
When you're safe, it was a good, enjoyable time. मेरो लागि चाहिँ नि. तर I mean सबको आफ्नो एक्सपिरियन्स छ मैले भने नि त हैन. It's like for me त्यो एउटा fulfilling sense पनि थियो. अर्को चाहिँ नि के भन्छ त्यहाँ कन्टिन्युसली केही न केही गरिरहेको थियौँ क्या हामी. whether it be we were on missions, we were planning for missions, we were planning for op-eds, whatever it was, केही न केही भइरहन्थ्यो. So you were busy and it was always that core group. हुन्छ नि, for 1 year it's that core group. So you really learn about each other, you talk about each other, you have fun. So
okay, now after heading out of the army, what does it was?
So during the army, I started taking online courses because about mom and daddy Nepali, chahiyo degree, that's the norm. So I was taking some online courses, and then right after the army, I got my bachelor's, and literally right after that, I got my master's. I know my master's is in data analytics, MSBA. मैले गरेको लोलबाटै गरेँ यहाँ आएपछि.
So तपाईं हजुर चाहिँ यता कहिले आयो?
2019 मा Boston.
Okay.
So I completely left the army in 2018 ma, and that's when I got married in 2016. Okay, 2015. त्यस्तै एउटा ma. 2016. No, 2015. 2015. We got married in 2015. New Mexico ayo. And in New Mexico man, when I was going through that whole schooling back again, she was going through schooling too. So she was a registered nurse here, and she did her NP Albuquerque. In the meantime, school पनि गइरहेको थिएँ, but I had a full-time job with Verizon Wireless. So I started at the bottom with Verizon Wireless. I used to hustle phones at a Verizon store. Like you come in for a phone, upgrade, buy a case, buy a screen protector, buy a charger. Like a commission sales job, right? Yeah. So त्यो गरिरहेको थिएँ. And then I moved up the ranks in Verizon simultaneously. My after bachelor's got so I moved up the ranks in Verizon. I went into business sales, then enterprise sales, and that's when I got into technology. And back then IoT, Internet of Things. So it was all about connectivity, right? So I used to work with big companies to figure out how can I, so solution architect almost, like what can I get you that Verizon offers or Verizon Partners offers that's holistically connective for you. I know, whether it be plugging in this little device into your vehicles as a business owner to track your vehicle speed, regular speed, internet, voice over IP phones, software programs to run your HR, stuff like that. We had a full suite of package, right?
Wow.
IoT of things. So Verizon le nabeci pani we had vendor partners, and so I would introduce them. So I was working with multiple different businesses. The Verizon in New Mexico market, and I became the manager of it. So I started heading up the entire state plus a little bit of Texas.
Wow.
So I had a lot of people, a lot of sales associate under me. So we used to go into businesses, look at like, okay, what do you have from technology perspective right now? How can I get you to the modern age where you have to do less with Internet of Things? And AI was non-existent. This was back in like 2018. I wouldn't say non-existent, but like
Wasn't as prominent as now.
prominent pani, but machine learning was a very new concept. I know man said like they didn't know what data collection meant, they didn't know how to curate the data and all that stuff. So people were still working off of Excel sheets, like drastically on certain database. So my goal was to stop using Excel. Let me get you a software where you can input all this data and then you can sort and find out all that stuff, right? So IoT gan thale, but simultaneously I did bachelor's. And then I rose up the ranks in business sales. And त्यसपछि came a point where my wife graduated from nursing as a nurse practitioner, and then I hit the ceiling mirror area, man. So I needed to move. I know if I wanted to go up, I needed to move wherever big market. So at that point, my wife and I talked about like what about family and stuff like that. So she's from Boston. Boston and her parents were here. So the logical thing was, if we want to do the family, support science, so let's move to Boston. So I looked for transfer into Boston market from Verizon. There was no opportunities at the time. Her bachelor's atio, so it was one of those things. So I started applying like crazy. I'm saying so I was going for Verizon I wasn't a head honcho, but like teti level ma pugisakeपछि I thought I could go for a mid manager position, easy huncha jasto लागेको थियो के. Wasn't as easy as I thought. 2019, it was very tough. I applied to a lot of places. It's not that I interviewed and got rejected. I just never got the interview call.
Wow.
Market was very tough. I know, very tough. Plus I was going for mid, I know. Then I started applying for junior roles. Again, like my computer science background, so I couldn't apply for a computer engineer or anything like that. The market was very hot for that computer science and computer engineering majors. So I had this amazing resume. I can do C++, I can do Java, but at that time, degree was degree. Like nobody. You needed a degree to get into computer science at the time. The ones that didn't get into that got into the computer science world without a degree at the time were the ones that went into hackathons and stuff like that, where they could prove themselves. I was not at that level. So otherwise, you graduate with a degree, you start as a junior level engineer and go up, right? So I started applying for junior level jobs, didn't get much traction. When I was almost ready to kind of give up, and then think about, okay, maybe Boston's not in our future. Let's talk about moving somewhere else and transfer with Verizon. Right then and there, I applied for the same role at Amazon 4 times, Ola.
In a span
of 6 months. Because they opened it, I applied it, then they closed it, then I didn't get selected, right? Then they opened it again, because they were hiring at the time, and it was for Alexa data services, right? So they were looking for data associates to do human labeling, automation, because like you need the data set in order to train the models. So that initial data has to be labeled by somebody, and so it was human labeling, right, for Alexa data. So they were growing drastically. They were hiring multiple managers. I was never picked. And then all of a sudden I got a call one day and said, would you like to come out to Boston for an interview? I was like, absolutely. So I came out. It wasn't a very high position. It was the first level manager position at Amazon. It was to manage about 20 data associates as a team manager and just look after their work, So essentially managing data specialists, data analysts, that kind of stuff. Came here. Apparently I made a good enough impression that New Mexico, I got the job offer while I was in Boston.
Wow.
So we packed up our life in 2 weeks in New Mexico. And then we kind of just moved out here in July of 2019, and I started with Amazon त्यसपछि. But then again, एकताली छिरेपछि I tell everybody, होइन, एकताली opportunity आइसकेपछि don't let it go, होइन. So I proved myself over and over again. I showed more interest on the tech side of the house, यताउति. So I rose up the ranks at Amazon too. Very quickly, and 3 years, my 4 promotions.
3 years, my 4 promotions.
Yeah, so more data management side, but I went into the risk and privacy side of the house. It was a brand new side of the house. They were trying to expand. Nobody knew what privacy meant, that kind of stuff. So I taught myself, learned myself, went into it. Everybody thinks I'm more on the compliance side. Yes, I'm on the compliance side, but I work with the engineers. And suddenly just go, hey, Varun, I'm about to launch this product. Is there an issue from a privacy perspective? And then I analyze it from a compliance side of the house, and I say, yeah, there is an issue, but this is how you fix an issue. So I give the engineers pointers on, like, you can develop this, don't do this, collect the data here, move it here. This is how to get. So it was more of a solutions architect kind of role. So Amazon, they call it TPMs, technical program managers, or PMTs, technical product managers, right? So the data line. So even though I was never officially titled technical program manager, that was more of the role I did. So my title was always, then I became IT auditor.
Amazon,
and we used to do it unique because outside firm, internal to Alexa, we used to review codes for, like, you can tell me this product does this, I know, but from an auditor perspective, outside firm, usually, okay, just give me a proof, and then you can give them a proof of the coding, and like, this is the type of data I collect. Just the name, phone number, that's what you collect. Show me how you collect on the back end. How do I know that you're not collecting more or you're not using it properly? And that's the type of audit we did, code-based audit and stuff like that. We find any issue, simply, hey, you need to go remove this code or change this code and build this control, add extra layer of security, whatever that is. So we used to provide technical control advices. So, and then I became the senior IT auditor, and then I became the IT audit manager, where a bunch of IT auditors worked that I supervised across the globe. So I used to have, Alexa is spread out across the globe. So the privacy side of the house, I ran it completely, 100%. So was doing really good over there. Then, I was also looking after incident responses with any kind of Alexa data issues and stuff like that. Oh, our system's down, or the data is not being collected, whatever that is. Ran that program for a little bit. And then in 2022, another thing came out where the discussions were like, okay, you're doing really good, but I think you need to sit somewhere else other than Boston when you ground. I think maybe Seattle, so that all our engineering teams are in Seattle, and you work with engineering teams directly or actively. And we used to build privacy products too. So I used to audit, but I also used to help engineering teams build privacy products, such as anonymization. Like, I get your data, how do I anonymize it, right? And is that good enough anonymization that I cannot link it back to you? So how do you build that product? What does that product needs to look like, right? So kind of essentially give the product roadmap, and then they would build it, and we'll test it, and that kind of stuff.
Product development.
Yeah, development side. So the thoughts came out, since you're working with the engineering team this much, maybe it's best that you move to Seattle. And then that's when I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna move. Like, I just had my oldest and youngest, both. My youngest was like not even a year old, so like, it did not make sense to move. They said, okay, it's all right for right now. Then the rumors of that's when the layoffs started, the 2022, and Meta started laying off that August, September, October timeframe. Then everybody said Amazon was going to follow suit, like that was going to happen. Right then, the federal position opened up as a privacy program manager, and it's hard to get into government,
Very.
But I think the veteran side of the house did me some favor, so I got the interview. So The manager was impressed. I went in as
So,
a...
okay, before we talk about that
Yeah.
part, let's dig in a little bit to Amazon, because I have a question.
Yeah.
3 वर्षमा हजुरले 4 वटा promotion पायो, which is not very common for a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you think you did that made you get 4 promotions?
Yeah, so I made a recent LinkedIn post. I don't know if you looked at it now, where it said somebody came up to you and said, "Hey, I have a project for you. Do you want to take it?" 90% of the people always say, that's not my space. I don't feel comfortable. I took everything, right? Somebody asked me, "Hey, can you go look at this product and see if we can find deficiencies? It's not your lane. Just look at it," right? I went, like, my working hours was crazy, and I used to dive into it, look at everything, and then say, and go back and say, okay, this is what I recommend, this is what I would do, this is what I do, right? So it was like, okay, so we're going to start an IT audit team. I know you're not an IT auditor. You don't even have a certification of an IT auditor. Would you like to start into IT audit? Yeah, sure. It was like never turning down an opportunity and making yourself, I wouldn't call it jack of all and master of none, but being able to, if you ever want to grow in any company or anywhere else, right? At one point when you become a manager, it's not about you coding, right? It's about, can you manage multiple work streams at the same time, right? And the only way you can do it is if you know about multiple work streams, right? So go learn, once again, learn about different aspects and work streams of the business, and at the same time, learn enough to be able to speak openly about it, right? So that caught attention of different managers, that caught attention of different leadership, and they would say, "Hey, I have a project. Do you want it?" And I took it, right? Because at the end of the day, Amazon or any other company, it's about building portfolio, right? Like, I want to promote Varun once, and see, okay, what has Varun done in the last 2 years, Bandahali? If you can only show one project that you worked on, and that too is not launched or wasn't successful, how do you justify promotion? Versus I went in, within a year, I went in with a portfolio of, I worked on 5 different things and 5 different things happened, and this is what happened, right? Make sure you give credit to the team that helped you. I know at the end of the day, it's about you, what did you do? And being able to say, I did this, if you have to do it, you do that. And that caught people's attention, and they said, okay, we'll bump you up, we'll bump you up, we'll bump you up. So
being always open to opportunities.
Always. Never say no to anything. Like, I've done, like I've never in my life I ever thought I would do code reviews. Like, it's not my lane. I'm not a software engineer. Like, what am I doing just to like it? But the more I did it, the more comfortable I got with it. I know, it's like, and I wasn't doing code reviews for the fact of, like, is the syntax correct? That's the senior engineers manager's job to look at that stuff. What I'm looking at is, like, this code does this. That's what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at for the integrity of the code. I'm not looking at the syntax of the code. I'm looking at this block of code says it's grabbing, I'm just being hypothetical here, and it's grabbing name, phone number, and address. Is it really doing that, or is it doing something else? Those are the stuff. And the more you do it, the easier it is to get a hold of it. Like, if you ask me to build something from scratch right now in Python, I probably won't, right? But if you show me a Python code and ask me what does it do, I can tell you exactly what it does. It's tough. But there's enough tools out there, especially now. There's enough tools out there that you can leverage to say, what does this code do, or write me a code for this that will do it.
ChatGPT, everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. You cannot rely on ChatGPT 100% either, right? Like, you have to have some working knowledge of the code base. But just a Python, like writing a Python code, copy pasting it. If it fails, what are you gonna do? So that's how I did it. That's how I got promoted at Amazon so rapidly.
So let's transition to your current position.
So current position, I started as a privacy program manager. By this time, I already had my master's in data analytics, right? So it was a very unorthodox hiring from the hiring manager, because privacy government, they were always, I wouldn't call it narrow-minded, but single-focused, that it's about the Privacy Act. Like, from a Privacy Act, which is a law, right? You can do this, and you can do this. And if you don't do this, you're violating somebody's privacy. That's the clear cut. I know, in simple words. I know. This guy wanted to grow the privacy program in such a manner that why do I have to tell them after the fact that this is wrong? Why don't we bring in somebody that can tell them before we even get the software or build the software that, hey, this is wrong? For that one, they needed somebody with a technical background more than the legal backgrounds allows, because 95% of privacy in the government is lawyers. So that's why they hired me as a privacy program manager. I proved myself that I can talk. I could talk with the engineers. I can talk with the development team, and I can also talk with the lawyers from a compliance perspective. And suddenly, because sometimes it's just reading, and suddenly just the law is very. There's room for interpretation, but very small room for interpretation. And suddenly, this is the law, and
Right. There's not much to it,
and there's cases to back it, right? So, I'm not saying everybody can do it, but everybody can get the basic interpretation of it, right? So when I walked into the office with the lawyers, I can speak the lingo enough to say why this is a violation, this is not a violation, and then they will back in from that end. But then at the same time, I can go to the engineers and say, you cannot do this, you can do this, and then do it that way. Then we do control assessments. It's a NIST framework, my God, something very specifically from a cybersecurity perspective. I mean, I can look at the controls, read it, and say, okay, it meets the requirement, it doesn't meet the requirement, so I became the privacy program manager. Within a year, they promoted me to chief privacy officer.
Wow.
So, but I'm more of a technical chief privacy officer, and I think within Department of Justice, I'm the only chief privacy officer that is not a lawyer. So Department of Justice has different components, like there's FBI, there's US Marshals, and everybody else. ATF is one of them. So I work for ATF very specifically, but I think I'm the only chief privacy officer till this date, and within that whole DOJ umbrella, that is not a lawyer.
Varun,
strictly technology.
Your story is एकदम unorthodox is the word, right? But like very inspiring. Because promotion 3 वर्षमा, then like
the government one,
the government one, which sounds so cool. But okay, now more of a personal question, right?
Yeah.
So Azuli, you've done so many different things. Army the Hilera, Amazon the Hilera, or you could roll the Hilera. So if you were to choose your best moment,
yeah,
what would it be and why?
Amazon. Well, it's very tough.
Or like your proudest moment.
Man, the proudest moment. I have so many, but like it's really hard to pick. I'll tell you, like I think from a work perspective, from a fun work perspective aside, Verizon was hands down the best one, because I was managing a sales team, right? So the whole goal was to go out, pitch ourselves, and sell products, right? Then get commissions and everything else, right? I mean, believe it or not, there's quotas, obviously, right? From a sales perspective, right? I had such an amazing team, they used to hit the monthly quota within 15 days.
Wow.
So that's like the proudest moment, right? They would go out and we had there's something called a return back period, right? So I sell you something today and you return it within X amount of days, it goes against me, right? Because obviously I upsold you into something that you were not interested in. My team was so good about reaching out so many clients and providing only the product they need and providing the support, which was not part of our job, right? Because once we sell, we hand it to technical team for support. My team we built the team in a manner they were technical enough to provide the support to the customer.
So post-sales money.
Post-sales money, because we don't want that to come back, right? Like the goal is, if you buy 10 things from me today, 3 months from down the road, how do I grow that 10 to 20, 20 to 30? I want to grow with your business. So that's my proudest moment, is like, like they were able to do that and effectively manage a business portfolio, right? So that was amazing, right? Like it's 15 days, it's done. Now we're into implementations, having fun. Like sales calls became fun. Like, hey, this business want to talk about some things. Do you want to go with me? And I used to ride with me. Sometimes 5 of us used to show up to one account and say, this is the support you're gonna get, right? Like, because we had the time, right? And even though it was a cutthroat sales position, everybody was doing so good that the team used to back each other up, and it didn't feel like a sales job. And it feels like a true solutions provider job. Then the other thing is Amazon, right? Like my team found vulnerabilities into the system, nothing too serious, but vulnerabilities that could have become an issue if we continue to grow the program by doing these code reviews. So I hired the entire team myself. So, the team was so diverse that everybody brought some unique of their self. So, usually a lot of people, what they do is one audit, one auditor. And mine was like one audit, the entire team, right? Like the entire team's going to provide the support. One person's going to lead it. So everybody brought in their expertise. And so we found things that we got a seat at the big table. And so when they're talking about, like, we're thinking about launching this product, we were part of go, no go decisions. And that's my biggest moment, right? Like, we were not high enough in the totem pole to make a go, no go decisions, but unless we gave a go, no go, it wasn't happening. And if we found an issue, they would ask us, do you need us to shut it down or should we continue? And our voice mattered. And it was like everybody at one point was like, this team is gonna just check for stuff, but nobody thought we were gonna have that much authority. So Amazon Mateo, that was my biggest thing. And then about LA, I started this program. Like, I started the privacy program, or not necessarily I grew the privacy program at ATF where it is. So it's like from ground up, like, like set the standards on certain things, and a lot of people call me for advices and stuff like that, which before it wasn't happening. So there's various moments that I'm very proud of.
Wow. So, Bo, I was going to ask, what about your biggest challenges? So before we move on to that, I was really, actually, I want to hear that first, because I think the next question is going to be a loaded question.
I think the challenges is always the same, and I think it's still the same, is the 100% buy-in, because I feel like I'm never going to get 100% buy-in, no matter how much I try. There's always certain pushback. Some people don't care about what I do, or what we do, or what I provide, or what my team provides. It happened back then. It happens now. And that's a challenge for me, right? Because certain things slip through, and then at the end of the day, I have to go. If something happens, I have to go clean it up, So that's a challenge. The 100% buy-in is the challenge. And out of 100 people, 90 people are bought in, but that 10 people are like, they're important enough that if they don't buy in, it's always a problem, right? So there's always a headache that I have to deal with still, of that not people having that buy-in into what you're doing. And I think that's going to continue to be a challenge. And then another challenge is manpower, right? Like right now, everybody needs people, but they don't have the funding to get the people. So, it's like, limited resources to do bigger projects kind of becomes an issue, becomes a burden, because that means me and my team have to pick it up, and at some point we have to draw the line for work-life balance things. And what happens when we draw that line and say, okay, I'm going to get to this tomorrow, day after, a month from now, and something happens between then and a month from now from a manpower perspective. So it's like I wish I had unlimited funding and 100% buy-in.
I actually feel that. I feel that. So, Abu, you would say, I think this is going to be a very important topic we discuss.
Yeah.
So, it's out of promotion. You have people that you advise. Also, LinkedIn post, I think I've seen you mentoring a lot of students. I'm your conversation when that you've actually helped a lot of students and just younger professionals with their resumes and interview preps, right? So, and you hire a lot of people as well.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Those are students are younger professionals are but if you could give them like one or a couple pieces of advice in terms of recruiting or just looking for jobs and stuff like that.
Find yourself a mentor. Like, that's the first thing that I'll tell everybody. Find yourself a mentor and just don't find a mentor to find a mentor, right? Like, don't go find a lawyer as a mentor. You can obviously have a lawyer as a mentor, but if you're a computer engineer, you don't even have a law background. Having a lawyer as a mentor can only take you so far. So first of all, your primary mentor that you go to advice for, look for everything, should be somebody that is in your field, right? After that, have more mentors that can give you different perspective. That's when you want the lawyers. That's when you want the people in business, entrepreneurs, whoever you want to, right? But pick a core mentor that is in your same area of expertise or the area of expertise you want to go into. Because one, they've lived through it. Two, they're either doing it right now, or three, they have industry connects that can benefit you in the long run, right? Second is education goes very far, but it's only so far. I know, like, I'll tell you, when I first got a Verizon job, Amazon job, I didn't have a degree, but I still got a job, right? I started at the lowest position, I came up the ranks, right? But now if you look at some job postings, it literally says master's or X amount of experience, right? So people are starting to count experience. And I personally have seen this, that a lot of people are more inclined to hire somebody with 5 years of experience than 5 years of college, because they have industry experience. I know, especially in a cutthroat market like this, I know experience is, I know. But one of the questions that I get asked a lot is like, how do I get that experience even if I don't have the job, right? Volunteer, pick up projects, right? For coders and engineers, do leak code, that kind of stuff, like there's plenty of coding websites, create your GitHub portfolio on what you've done, build something. Don't waste time by sitting idle, right? In the meantime, learn to code yourself, learn to become proficient, because when you do get that one opportunity in 1,000, you don't want to fail there. And that's the key. Because what I see a lot of people do, even at Amazon, many software engineers, when they were applying, the first thing Amazon sends out to a software engineer when you apply is that assessment, that initial assessment. It's a 2-question assessment where you have to write the code and solve the problem, and then only you get to the interview phase. I know a lot of people haven't practiced or anything like that, and they think they can write a code in Java. I know. I will tell you, I've seen people copy paste it from ChatGPT and still not be able to even solve 1 out of 10 on that thing. It's not that as easy as that. They're looking for certain syntax style, like a lot of things happen. So that only comes from practice. So if you're trying to get into something, you don't have to solve the problem 100%, but you have to show some progress. And this was just when you write the entire code, it solves 10 things. But you should be at least able to solve 5 or 6 of those errors. The 4 will happen, right? Sometimes it's meant to be not solvable in some cases, but practice, right? So volunteer. There's a lot of volunteer opportunities out there, even for students, that is not paid, but you can volunteer and try to build that into your resume. I know that's one way to do it. And I think people will hate me for saying this. I'll tell you this much. I know, like, a lot of people will probably hate me. A lot of professionals will hate me for saying this. But from my perspective, and this is only my opinion, I'm going to make it very clear. Your resume only gets you so far. If you don't network, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, because she has the same resume as I do, or somebody else does. There's 10 people applying for the same job. The job description is already listed. So it's likelihood that all those 10 people that applied have similar resume.
Yeah.
How does a recruiter move the resume to the hiring manager? And how does the hiring manager decide who he wants to interview or not? What sticks out of that resume, right? So first step, make sure your resume is clean, and the myth of 1-page resume, I think it's BS these days. I know, like, at least 2 pages. Everybody has at least 2 pages of resumes, at least from what I've seen. I still see some 1-page resumes, and I go like, okay, what am I missing here? Like that kind of stuff. But like, make sure your resume is clean. But 2 is like, find that referral for that company, right? Like, if 50 applicants with similar background come to me, and then 5 of them are referrals from somebody that is already working for the company that is vouching for you, who do you think as a hiring manager I'm most likely to interview? And I know everybody says, no, it's based on your qualification, but let's take all qualifications alike. At some point, as a hiring manager, I'm trying to hire one software engineer that 100 people apply to. Go to LinkedIn, look at jobs, and just look on the top. 100 applicants, 100 plus applicants hit apply, and it's one position. And as a hiring manager, am I going to hire 100? Am I going to interview 100? I have to shorten that list, right? So how do I shorten that list, right? That's where you need to network. That's where you need to build a network. Don't send out generic messages on LinkedIn and stuff like that. just to, hey, I applied for this position and I would love to chat with you. Like those are like what I call like, yeah, like I get about 50 to 60 of those a day. Like people asking me, hey, can you do a resume review for me? I'm like, okay, for what? How? Where? Give me some context. I don't have, and I hate to say this, but I don't have time to reply back to every message and say, okay, what are you applying for? And tailor your resume. Like, no, like if you're applying for two different positions, you shouldn't be applying with the same resume. It should be two different unique resumes, one way or the other. And look at the formatting of the resumes and all that stuff like that. So there's multiple things you have to do rather than just apply. Like, I think your first guest, he said 600 and something applications, and he got
695 applications, 43 interviews, 3 offers.
Just to put that in perspective, and that was in the market. That was at the time where the market was semi-decent. I know the competition about all these H1Bs and everything else coming out, like it's a tough market.
So you're networking with Kurama. What are some actionable steps that people should take proactively to get that role or get the role they want?
Come to NSA Mixers. No, in all honesty, I think those mixers are really good, right? Because and the thing that I hear a lot of times is like, oh, lithium mixers, they did it last month. I already went to it. I already met the people when I was there. You never know who's going to show up on the mixer, right? Every mixer is a new mixer, because next time I show up, I might bring 3 of my friends that work in the company. They might not be Nepali, and I might just say, hey, you guys want to go and have a beer and just talk to some people, and then after this we'll hit the bar outside and then we'll enjoy, and 3 of my additional friends might show up, and one of my friends might be hiring. Like, you never know who you meet up. So if you have the time and the opportunity, go to these mixers, not just NSA, find other tech mixers out there, not only tech, whatever field you're in, find those mixers, and if you have the time, don't lose out on going to these mixers. That's one thing.
So even if you go to these mixers, because there's so many people, right? Like, how do you network properly? Then, it's not, because networking isn't you walk up to someone and go, hey, what do you do, right? So how do you go from that initial touch to getting a referral?
It's not going to happen overnight. I'll tell you that much. And just because I met you today, I'm not going to refer you.
Yeah.
It's a simple concept as that.
कति स्टुडेन्टहरूले उहाँ 2-3 जना दाइले नि भन्नुभएको थियो, कतिजना आउँछ अनि त्यसपछि ए दाइ तपाईँ यहाँ काम गर्नुहुन्छ, एकमा रेफर गरिदिनु न त, just because we're Nepali or but then you don't know me, I don't know you, right? So
and in some companies I'm putting my name behind it, right? So in some areas, like let's say if you apply to Alexa and I put my name behind it, like people know me, it's like if they end up hiring you and you don't turn out to be what you thought, like they say, oh, that's the person Varun referred. Just remember that. So it makes it difficult for other people as well. And some companies, it's like the referral is only a step. It's not like, it's how far you go with the referral. Right now I'm in the federal government, so unless you have a citizenship, I cannot really help you, unfortunately, because federal government only takes that. But I know I still work with a lot of companies that work for federal government that have the private sector arm of it that do I don't mind referring. Hey, like if you have a job, something like that. It's as simple as you come up, you talk, you exchange LinkedIn, right? But follow through with it, right? Keep in touch with the person, right? Look at what that person has posted in the last, like a lot of people that come to these mixers are semi-active in LinkedIn. I'm not. I'm horrible at being it. Every once in a while, when somebody asks me the same question 3 times, I'll make up a LinkedIn post. But other than that, I go and like a bunch of LinkedIn posts. I know. So go look at that person's timeline and what are they doing? What are they following? Right? Build that rapport with them. Build that some commonality with them. Find something to talk to them. Right? And let's say we have a mixer today, and you and I got to meet, and we exchange LinkedIn. The first thing I will do, me personally, is say, hey Shay, thank you so much for talking to me today. It was a pleasure meeting you, and I hope like I can continue to talk to you and like get more ideas from you, right? give it a day or two and reach out and say, hey, Shrey, do you have a moment? Can we meet? I just wanna talk to you about some things. I just wanna run my resume by you. Stuff like that. Try to do that in-person touch, rather than like, hey, Shrey, I'm just gonna send you my resume. Can you look at it and see if it's okay and send it back to me? Yeah, I'll get to it once.
Yeah.
Then I don't feel that personal touch.
Right.
And do I do it? Yeah, I do it. And a lot of people these days charge. Including I see some good profile people, Nepali people on LinkedIn that you can sign up, get on the calendar, and then get that resume review for $50, $40, $10, and a lot of them are donating it back to the community. But the reason they started charging me, they were getting so many people saying, "Hey, can you look at my resume?" And you do a resume, and you don't hear back from them. It was literally they used them for the
time.
I wouldn't say wasting time. It's like you're not seeing the fruition of the time I spent to make that resume. I'm telling you. So what they do is like if they make you charge $40 for it, there's somewhat seriousness that you paid for it to look at it, right? Mentorship session, a one-on-one for 1 hour, $100. And suddenly, like if you're gonna pay that, you're actually coming to the table with something creative rather than something for free. So I see a lot of people doing that, but like taking that back a little bit. Like that personal touch, and it's not gonna come today or tomorrow. For me, like I've referred quite a bit of people. I've hired quite a bit of people. It's all about how much of that personal touch are you willing to do, and how far are you willing to go. It's like you have to show the passion for it too, and show the work for it too, right? Just don't tell me, "Dai मैले भर्खर मास्टर्स क्लास गरेँ, मेरो रेजुमे यो हो, तर मलाई सब आउँछ." You have no idea how many of those I get. हुन्छ नि मलाई सब आउँछ मलाई पाइथनमा एकदमै प्रोफिसिएन्ट छु हैन अनि त्यसपछि the first thing I ask is तिम्रो GitHub छ त like what have you done on Python, can I just look at it, or तिम्रो Jupyter notebook छ, the project you worked on, just so I can see. And I'm not calling out your BS, but I'm calling out your BS. हुन्छ नि and out of the last 10 only one person मलाई देखाउँछ हुन्छ
Wow.
Just out of the last 10 हुन्छ नि everybody's like more proficient too, which is great. 2 is like set your expectation low. Like as a student, you might be an amazing student. You might have like after bachelor's 5 years, 6 years experience, then you went into masters and everything like that. People are like, मलाई चाहिँ नि 150 र 2 लाख जतिको मात्र काम गर्छ है म त्यसमा मलाई त्यसमा मात्र refer गरिदिनु है. Can you refer me to a senior Java developer position? And I look at the resume and I say, as a hiring manager, what on this resume resonates to me as a senior Java developer? Because if I'm gonna put my name behind it and refer to you, something has to resonate with me. Now it might be the talk that we had that resonated, and I will tell you, hey, timo resume ma cha ni bhai, यसमा हाल्यो भने nobody's gonna look at it, even if I refer it. So can you tweak it this way, right? So that's the personal touch, right? But when I say set your expectation low, it's like and then get any job they are willing to refer you, right? Dai मैले यसमा apply गर्न खोजे भने हैन, then I get the resume and I told somebody यसमा चाहिँ हुँदैन भाइ, but how about this? अनि I was shocked a few times. Nepali matra हैन है, like Americans as well. This has happened to me with Americans as well. They're like, that seems like a junior role. I don't know if I really want to go for that. I've had that conversation, right? And then I'm like, I'm baffled. Are you looking for a job? Are you shopping for a job? Right? Like, I'm shopping for a job. If the right opportunity with the right pay comes, I might take it. But I don't need a job. I have my job right now. At that time, you have the luxury to say, I'm shooting for this, and build yourself, whether it takes 6 months or a year to get there, versus I need a job tomorrow, whether to keep my status or even to get a pay, whatever it is. Be willing to take any job. Then prove you're good at it and get the promotions. And suddenly, get there. After you get it, get into the company. Because once you're into the company, like, one role could have thousands of applicants, right? Just get in. Once you get in, it's a whole different ballgame after that. Because then now you can talk to managers that are hiring for that team directly. Then grow into it. Yeah. But go into whatever that gets you. 3 for my friends that are international students that are looking for H1B and everything like that, if you're a computer engineer or computer science major, if there's an opportunity to become a data engineer, take the job. I know it's not computer science, I know you're not going to be coding, but take the job. Just get in. It's still STEM.
Right.
And depends on how they wrote the LOA. It might still encapsulate what you studied. Right. You'll be fine. Once you get in, then worry about it. And just go in. Like, just because you did computer engineering or data analytics or data engineering doesn't mean just don't narrow your focus to that. Like, if you're good at Python, for example, but you did, I don't know, something different in STEM, but it's STEM, whatever, more than likely, like, the LOA will cover it one way or the other. It's because the way we used to write the LOAs for a position used to be very holistic. We never used to say, I need a computer engineering major degree. We never used to write LOAs like that. Okay? It was basically like somebody proficient in this, somebody proficient in this, somebody LOA labor certificate go lagi. So under that, I can hire a data engineer, I can hire a software engineer, I can hire a data analyst, I can hire almost multiple different positions in the same LOA. So if you're a computer engineer and you're not getting a job, or a computer science major and you're not getting a job, maybe downgrade a little bit. And I hate to say the word downgrade because, like, data engineers is a different profession. They do their own thing. When I say downgrade a little bit, it's not 100% coding, pure development. And then I know you're going into something like a analytical role, data analyst, a BI, BI developer, something like that, which is less intensive like computer science. I know, but at least you are in the door. And after that, worry about it.
Wow.
After that, worry about switching job families, and after that, worry about progressing up the ladder, however you want to do it.
So if I was to flip the script now, because I think that was really good advice. So with an right? But if we were to flip the script and you could do something different, also or some good journey, man, what would it be?
Different?
Yeah, something that maybe you wish that it's the work.
I don't think I have that. Like, whatever I have my degree in, like, I have a degree in analytics, big data, I was supposed to choose the path of pure data scientists that go that route. I haven't done that. I work with a lot of data scientists. I provide them advice on their models and how their models are doing. I still work with them, but I don't work as that. So do I regret that? Not really. Data is my passion, so I wanted to understand data more, so that's why I did data analytics, like the big data side of the house, where I was building models, school models, and I was building models. So I understand that concept. Can I go do the job? Maybe with the proper training. I'm not gonna go become a senior level data scientist anytime soon. There's plenty of good people that are in that field, but I think I can become a junior one, and with the right mentorship, maybe get to a senior level. But I really don't like. I really don't have something that said I wish I had done that one. It's more like I did whatever I did as the first come first serve opportunity wise. And just when I was trying to come to Boston, I didn't care what field it was. It's like if the job description even slightly matched my resume, I was shooting for it. And that's another thing, right? Like, if you even, like, the companies are doing really good where it says, even if you don't have everything in the requirements, still apply when it's like, it's called resume. A lot of people are starting to post that stuff, right? So even if out of 10 requirements, you meet 6 of them, just apply. Because sometimes as a resume reviewer, I just look at it and I say, oh, that's so cool. That one position that he did, that one thing he did is so cool. But he doesn't have the rest of it. Let me just interview this person once. I've done that before. Like, I hired a senior IT auditor, Amazon that had never done an audit. I know. But they had one thing that caught my eye, which was they've done a bunch of code reviews when and for me, I was like, this is really interesting, because I had 10 requirements to a senior IT auditor. They met 3 out of the 10. One thing that really stuck out to me was like code review and I didn't have that in my job description. So that I don't know if they intentionally put it as a code reviewer, किनकि audit role भएर हैन, but that caught my attention. So during the interview process, I was like, so tell me how you did a code review. And I used to be a team lead for software engineers, so I used to do code reviews for them. And once, you know what? That's exactly what I need in my audit team, because I want somebody that has coding experience and that has review experience, because that's the portfolio I want to grow mine to. So as soon as I brought that person on, I was like, I went up to my boss and I said, we can do detailed code reviews now as part of our audit. And they were like, all right. Oh, so for me, that was like a bonus thing. I'm suddenly like, oh, he just expanded his portfolio from a simple idea audit to a detailed code review audit. I got a plus point. That person came into an audit which they had never done an audit. I had to teach them audit, but the code review aspect of it was perfect. And so don't be hesitant. Just because a job has like 6 requirements and you only meet 1 out of the 6, if the job resonates with you, tweak your resume. I'm not saying lie on your resume, but tweak your resume to, to match that job description, to at least catch the attention of the reviewer. So that's one thing.
Wow.
For me, I still want to do this one thing that I haven't done, which I want to be an entrepreneur.
Well, I guess that was my next question, which is like, well, what's next? Like, what are you thinking?
Next is I want to be a pure technical role. So I want to go into something like a CTO or CIO role, ideally. I know I'm not going to go directly into a CTO or CIO role. So I've been working. I have mentors, I know, that are CTOs, CIOs, and CISOs. So I've been working with them, working on certain projects to kind of build my portfolio up to say, hey, I can take that role. So I want to go into a pure tech title role. That's where I want to go into, because I want to lead the projects. I want to start my own projects. And on the side, I want to do something with entrepreneurship. And I don't know what that is. I don't know. Owning a restaurant is one. I really don't know. At one point, I was very gung-ho about starting a consulting firm, tech consulting firm. But market is very unpredictable right now to start something like that, so I'm gonna, for me, the next step is I've started some projects towards building some applications and stuff like that eventually should come to fruition. So taking it slow, easily, and then once that is all developed,
then you have to come back again so we can talk about it.
But collaborating with other people like that, and then that's the ultimate goal for me. What's next? But it's unpredictable for me. For me, it's like I don't look too far into the future either, because I made that mistake once, because I said I was going to be in the army for 25 years, and I looked too far into the future, where unfortunately my career was cut short. But I learned my lesson, just I only want to do what I can control. So I can tell you what's next is I'm building myself up to take a true technical role. When will that happen? It could happen tomorrow. It could happen a year from now or 2 years from now. It all depends on, it has to be the right opportunity that comes out. It has to be the right position. It has to make sense. I don't care what anybody says. I'm passionate, but I do care about money. It has to be the right salary. It has to be the right package. And if the next job is not a CTO or a CIO role, and it's still in this field of privacy compliance, the technical side of the house, but the money makes sense, I'll take that too. I'm not married to, I want to be a CIO or a CTO. That's the one I want to go towards, and I'm building myself towards it. But I don't care. It's a hit or miss.
Wow.
It's a hit or miss.
But that's the end of the podcast. I mean, thank you so much for coming. All right, first question: if you were to eat specific kind of food, कुन चाहिँ restaurant मा जानुहुन्थ्यो? For example, जस्तै best momo चाहिँ कहाँ जानुहुन्थ्यो? maybe थकाली खानलाई कहाँ जानुहुन्थ्यो? Something like that.
थकाली मैले ट्राई नै गरेको छैन हैन. Best momo it's for me it's Jay's. I'll be honest. One is close by, they're really good. So I like Jay's momo.
Best ambience को लागि अलिकति chill hang out गर्नलाई.
So Makalu just opened up, right? Like it has a different ambience versus chill is Zom Sapan cha, and then like that whole vibe with like family styles any मलाई अहिले पनि मन पर्छ हैन so it's hard to pick one over the other. And then sometimes for exciting stuff like अलिकति हो हल्ला गर्नु मन छ I end up at Zuzu. I end up at Zuzu for ho halla हुन्छ नि it's a different kind of it just depends on the mood and like what am I feeling like.
I was trying to put Varun on the spot but
tough this one is the toughest one. Baki sab ma honestly bhanchu होला yo wala chai ni it's hard to pick one.
Okay, so let's see other question lai what you say. So second question, one thing you miss the most about Nepal?
The food. I just came back from Nepal. I've been here back 3 weeks now.
Wow.
I went after 13 years. I miss the food.
Specifically?
Everestko momo, Tip Top ko samosa. I can go on for days. I tried a lot, so I miss the food. And I miss the ambience. Like, त्यहाँको ambience, like when you go out to eat. I was talking to somebody, like Wednesday, बेलुका हामी यति बाहिर गएको थियो हैन. We sat at the gardens भन्ने नयाँ रहेछ जम्सिखेलमा हैन. I think it's Seasons or somebody. I think somebody says Seasons. Gardens भन्छ चाहिँ Wednesday packed, bro. It was the vibe was so amazing. हैन. त्यसमाथि hookah was on the table. Drink गरेछ, मोमो खाछ, pizza मगाछ, like whatever you want. हुन्छ नि all in one place. So I miss that. Friends, I miss that. हुन्छ नि the chill vibe. Plus मेरो work को stress थिएन होला, so that was another thing about it. But I miss my friends. I miss the ambience in Nepal.
Okay, one food you love but can't find in the US. Nepali food.
Can find it, but not like Nepal. Chatamari. I haven't found.
Oh my god! You're the first person that said that. Chatamari also. What about if any of your friends or family ever visited you in Boston? What's the first place you take them to?
The harbor. This is the
Boston Harbor.
Boston Harbor.
Best Nepali song at the moment?
Because of my kids, Sushant Kesiko, the Hindi version.
Boy, camera passer. Oh, yeah, that's the one.
So, like Bardali, like I think my daughters 5 and 3. They both sing the entire song. So so my Mir Karma, that's on repeat right now.
What's the one word or phrase that you would teach your non-Nepali friends? Namaste bhai.
Non-Nepali friends.
One Nepali word or phrase. Or swear words.
Swear words bhai. I think dhanyavad, right? Like I think my friends have always been appreciative in a lot of sense. So dhanyavad has been the common one that I teach all my directs, my friends, like, and they use that quite a bit. Like I sometimes get an email at the end that says dhanyavad when they ask me for something. So it's funny. So dhanyavad is one word that I teach quite a bit.
Wow. Varun, and that's a wrap.
Thank you for having me. No, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Alright, thank you so much for watching. And if you want more guests like Varun to share their stories and insights with you all, please
like, subscribe, and
comment down below.
Comment down below.